doing so well. Think I'm live. Just giving it a couple of seconds to make sure everything is live. Yes, we are live now. Amazing. I hope you guys are so well, whether you're watching and joining live today or if you're on the replay. Hello and welcome to you. I hope you're doing so well. Yeah, we're getting closer to the end of the year, and that can bring up a lot of stuff depending on where we're at. And I know that it can be a very overwhelming time of year for many. So today's topic, I think, is very topical in terms of the topic of overwhelm when it comes to building your personal brand. And of course, overwhelm can come in many forms, and it can lead to burnout. So this is what we want to avoid, and we want to manage those feelings of overwhelm and reduce them and manage what we have on our plate so that we don't get into those feelings of overwhelm. But I know that whether you're in a career or whether you're in a business, that a lot of the time, the personal brand building activities can feel overwhelming because it's almost like the cream on top of whatever it is that you do day to day. So whether you're, a coach or a consultant in your own business, or if you are in a career, you no doubt have day jobs that you're doing. So the personal brand building activities can sometimes feel like an additional layer of things that we've got to do. And so this is where, I want to give you as much support as possible so that you can minimize that feeling like it's a whole nother thing to do on your to-do list that's going to take forever, and kind of reframe this into actually this is part of the core of what we need to do in order to advance. And what we want to actually do is really remove some of the other day-to-day things and focus more on the personal brand building activities so that we can move forward in leaps and bounds rather than just sitting at our desks and doing all the hard work and never actually moving the needle forward. Because even though hard work is the foundation for success, and yes, you do need to work hard. When I say hard, I don't mean hard like burnout hard. I just mean, yes, you need to put focused time in, but you don't need to be burning yourself out and working all the hours and adding additional things to do to your to-do list when it comes to building your personal brand. What we want to start to do is move you forward so that your personal brand can make you successful in the way that you have more paying clients and can charge more, so that you can let go of some of the lower paying clients or let go of some of the lower paying stuff. And you can also get more support. You can pay for more support. So that is how your personal brand helps you if you're in business. And then of course, if you're in a career, you can also get into those leadership positions where you've got support and you've got team underneath you that can support you and do things so that you're not having to do everything yourself. So so there's kind of this myth in your career or business to be successful, you've got to do everything yourself, and it's really not the case. You really can't do everything yourself. So your personal brand is going to help you to get to that stage where you can charge more. You can actually work less because you're more in demand. You've got a higher profile, so you've got more opportunities coming to you. So there's less work in having to people wanting to work with you, which is how you get people knowing about who you are and what you do as a service provider and as a professional. Then you really need to be consistent with the personal brand activities that you're doing. So you need to stay front of mind. You need to prove that, you are going to show up at a certain time. So if you kind of say I'm going to do a live stream every week, you want to be consistent and actually show up and do that in order to build trust with your audience. Now, of course, there's no hard and fast rules for anything. Obviously, if you miss something here and there, that's completely fine, or you take holidays or whatever. But it's just general regularity and consistency when it comes to building your personal brand that will really move the needle forward. And similarly, if you're in a career, because it is they are similar activities when you're building a career as into the executive levels. to, if you're building a business, you do need to have that higher profile. You do need to be perceived a certain way by your audience, by your stakeholders, by your potential clients, by the leadership in the business, by your team. And so this is where the consistency does come in and prove incredibly valuable, if not essential, to building your personal brand and having people perceive you in the way that will take you further towards your goals. Because if you think about it, everything is really perception, right? So what makes one person be perceived as a leader and one person be perceived as not? And it really is the personal brand there. It's the perception of that person, and it's the perception of what they can do. It's the perception of who they are as a professional. It's a perception of their leadership. It's the perception of their, responsibility and how they show up. So this is all how our personal brand can support us. Okay, so the first thing to do to overcome overwhelm, and this is the very first step that you can take, is create a strategy. So I am all for strategy because it just takes out the unknown. It reduces self-doubt. It reduces overwhelm. When you've got a plan, then you know what it is you're doing, you know when you're doing it, and you can't procrastinate on it as much. So for example, every week I go live in my Facebook group, and this may change moving into next year, but at the moment, every week I go live in my Facebook group at 12 o'clock on a Thursday. And so every week I consistently do that. And then that content, like people watch the replay, that kind of thing. But always that's that consistent showing up. And that's my kind of core content across the week that I show up with. And then I use that content across social media. And so that is like my core piece of content every week. And that is how I maintain consistency with my personal brand building right now. So that's part of my strategy. I know I'm going to do it. So, if I had just said, okay, every, like I'll go live whenever I want, then I probably would never go live because I would be like, oh, I've got other things to do, or I don't have my hair done, or I would do other work, or I would just not feel like it, or whatever. So that would not support me to be consistent with building my personal brand. It would be like, I'd just be like, yeah, I'm not even going to bother. And then, a month would go by and I'm like, oh crap, I really need to do something there, right? So you can see how it just takes the guesswork out to have that strategy. And you know what you're doing. So you don't need to every week go, oh, what should I do this week? Like when it comes to getting out there, getting in front of potential clients, or, getting in front of like the stakeholders in the business that I'm in so that I can get that promotion. It's like, you know what you're doing, you've thought it through in advance, and you've got that plan. So a strategy can be a big word, but really it's just like the what, why, where, when, and how. And so I'm going to talk you through each of those just to support you to really have a think when it comes to your strategy. It doesn't need to be this huge, long, intricate thing. It can be. So a strategy can be as big or as small as you want it to be. But really it's just about what you're going to do versus what you're not going to do. And so today I'm going to just dive into this a little bit more, each element of the what, why, where, when, and how, so that you can start to think about your own personal brand strategy. So the what, firstly, let's think about that. So what is it that you're trying to achieve? That's really critical because that will impact your personal brand strategy. That will impact where you show up, and when and how often, and all of those kinds of things. So just think about this as your goal. So what is it you're wanting to achieve? If you're in business, you might be wanting to attract all of those aligned clients. If you're in a career, you might be wanting to get that promotion. You might be wanting to land that pay rise. You might be wanting to set yourself up for the next role. Okay, so each of those will have a different personal brand strategy. So think about what it is that you're trying to achieve, at least, in the next 6 to 12 months. And then you can align your personal brand strategy with that goal or those goals. Okay. Now, the second thing to think about is why. So, why is it that you want to achieve these goals? So, think about something that can really anchor it to you. Think about that whole, Simon Sinek thing, start with why. But, why is it? So, I could say, like, okay, want to get, want to land more clients. But it's like that is a little bit like it's not as compelling as something like okay, I want to create financial security for myself and have a thriving business doing work that I absolutely love, working with incredible clients on a day-to-day basis while supporting my family and being able to thrive. Like you can see that that is a far more compelling why than just to land more clients. It's like, and ultimately, like the goal that you're wanting isn't to land more clients. It's like what you get out of that. It's like if you land more clients, then you have like a thriving business. If you've got a thriving business, you can get more support. If you get more support, then you can have a better lifestyle, right? So it's like all of these things that that it will actually create a better life for you essentially, and that will make you feel like a certain specific way that you want to feel. So it's actually the goal often is not just like to land more clients or to land that job. It's what that will mean for you when you do. It's how that will make you feel, and those are the reasons that you really want to connect in with when you're building your personal brand, because that will make it worth it, not just to land that job or to find new clients. Okay, now the third thing is, where are you going to build your personal brand? So what platforms are you going to use? Now think about tapping into that goal again. Now think about, so where is that audience? So, or the stakeholders. So if it's potential clients are looking for, what platforms are they on? If it is, if it's like, the leadership in your business that you're wanting a promotion from, well, how can you tap into that audience? If it is you're looking for the next role in your industry, well, how can you tap into that audience of that kind of network, or the people that are in that industry and are senior and could potentially refer you and hire you and give you opportunities, right? So just depending who your audience is, then you can start to think about, okay, well, where are they hanging out? So what platforms am I going to use, or what tools, what avenues am I going to use to build my personal brand in that space? So it might be that, it's a social media platform, or you might want to be doing a combined approach, but I always recommend to start small, get consistent with that, and then build and grow from there. Because it's all kind of a mix. Like there's no one thing that's going to get you to your goal. It's not like, you do a live stream every week and then bam, you've got like, a full pipeline of clients and a fully booked business. It's not like, you go to a networking event and then you've got a steady stream of job opportunities. It all kind of plays into the mix, and it all factors in when you start taking action across a number of channels, while still, being able to be consistent and starting kind of small. So for example, if you were in a career and you're looking to get into that leadership position, you might want to combine going to networking events and meeting with people in your industry once a month or once a quarter, with giving quarterly presentations to the industry, with doing a monthly newsletter to your company, with catching up for coffee and getting a mentor within your company once a month, with like presenting to your team weekly, and maybe doing some media and being quoted in the media once a month, for example. So you can see how none of these things necessarily takes a really long time, but once you've got a little map for that, you can consistently action that. You know what you're doing. You don't have to spend hours and hours and hours, except for obviously like presentations and things like that can take a little while. But if you can do that on repeat, then you can really leverage that time spent. And it's those kinds of things that are going to really give you bang for your buck in terms of growth in your career or growth in your business. So, thinking about where, so what channels are you going to be using? So whether it's social media, whether it's speaking, whether it's networking, whether it's podcasting, what is it that you're going to do? The next point to consider is when. So when are you going to be doing these personal brand activities? Schedule it into your diary now. So create a little map. Okay, so monthly you want to be doing one media piece. So, okay, like where can you put in an hour to write that piece every month? Now, and monthly you want to be doing a networking piece, or just like write it down in a Google Keep or an Evernote list and tick it off every month when you've done your personal brand activities, right? So when are you going to be doing it? If it's something like a live stream, okay, think about like, okay, I could go live once a week on Friday at 3 p.m. for example. So whatever that might look like, but that consistency will really support you just to get it done and just to really know what it is that you're doing. Because the thing is that there's no perfect rule book for building your personal brand. It's different for everyone. It will depend also on what it is that you really enjoy doing. It depends on what your goals are. It depends on who your audience is. It depends on how much time you've got. It depends where your strengths are. So, for example, if you really hate video, you might want to try podcasting. You might want to be doing audio, that kind of thing. If you're a writer, you might love doing blogs. If you're very outgoing, you might love going to networking events all the time. If you're more of an introvert, you might be like, okay, I'm going to go to, events only once every 2 months and just tone that down a little bit and go with like really key objectives in mind. So, there's no cookie cutter approach here. It really depends. And, like I said, it's a mix of various different elements that is going to get you to where you want to go. Okay, now the final thing around your strategy, so around point 1, creating a strategy, is thinking about the how. So how are you going to measure success and tweak from there? So what does success look like? How do you know if this is working? And it's not always just direct, sales. That's not the only metric. Or it's not just landing the promotion or getting the job. That's not the only metric either. So think about things like, how many posts you're doing on social media a month. That's a metric. That is a success metric, as well as how many people are engaging with it. So you can think of output as a success metric, as well as, what you're getting back, because output is something you can control, whereas the response to it is not. So your success metric might actually be, get in front of 50 potential clients by reaching out and organizing catch-ups like this quarter, or whatever your metric might be to achieve the goal that it is that you're wanting to achieve, rather than make 3 sales. Your metric is actually probably better off being reach out to 50 people, because that's something that you can absolutely control, and by default you're likely to land those clients, or at least you'll learn enough that you can tweak and pivot enough to land those clients on the way to reaching out to 50 of them and speaking with 50 of them, right? So you can see how that's just another logical kind of path to success there. Okay, so that is number 1. The number 1 tip to reduce overwhelm and to build your personal brand consistently is create that strategy. And like I said, it can fit on 1 page. It doesn't need to be, this 50-page document. It just means that you've thought it through, so you know what it is that you're doing. Okay, now the second thing to reduce overwhelm and build your personal brand consistently is to use your time effectively. Now, one of the biggest excuses I hear when it comes to I don't have time to build my personal brand, and I use it myself, I don't have time to do that. It is a very useful excuse, because it is true, right? We don't have loads of time, but it's all about prioritizing. And so, if we're saying we don't have time for it, it just means that it's not a priority. But the thing is that the personal brand, sorry, there's a really noisy car going past in my street. The personal brand building activities are the things that are going to move us forward the most, right? And so it's almost like it's the growth activities that we need to do in order to get to where we want to go. Okay, so like saying that we don't have time for it just means that we want to stay where we are. Like we're prioritizing staying where we are. And sometimes that is awesome. Like I sometimes am like, okay, I can't do any growth right now. I'm actually in a stage of my business right now where I am like I cannot grow any further right now. I'm happy to talk to potential clients, but I cannot take on anything else right now. And that is like, obviously, I'm very grateful to be in that position in my business. And it's taken, a number of years. But like for me, I'm kind of like, I do still prioritize the personal brand building activities because I know that that is a fundamental part of like retaining a thriving business, right? And like without that, I know that, that over the longer term, it's it's harder to land clients, it's harder to attract clients if you don't have that personal brand. So for me, it's just like a critical, fundamental part of being in a career or being in business. It's absolutely fundamental. But you don't need to go into overwhelm over it or spend all the time in the world, right? Like you want to just make it as streamlined as possible. And I used to do a lot more social media. I don't as much anymore. I find that the lower engagement just kind of pisses me off a little bit. And so I'm kind of like, I'm not going to spend all my time on platforms that, aren't giving that return or that I don't feel are giving that return. And quite frankly, I'm like, there's other ways that I feel like the social media is like, it is a good way to connect with people and it is a good way to build your business or build a career as well. But I think that like I don't think we need to be on there all the time. I think that it can just tick along a little bit and we can ramp it up at various different times. But in saying that, there is still a level of consistency that's required. So I do still post several times a week, but I'm not posting every single day like I used to. I'm not going live on multiple channels like I used to and things like that. So you can scale things up and down, but just have that base level of consistency so that you still are maintaining that presence and so that, when you're wanting to ramp things up, you can, and when you're not, you're not. And it kind of like is like your career or your business will work for you then. Like it kind of, it's there to support and serve you in your life. So sort of treat it that way, if that makes sense. Like you don't want to be beholden to anything really when it comes to your career or business. You want your career or business to be supporting you as an individual. So using your time effectively will really help to streamline the whole personal brand building process. So I know that it can feel like, anyway, it can take like, a long time to do social media content and to create that valuable content and to share that every week. And, there is time involved in it. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I think that people that say that it doesn't take time, it does take some time, but you are like, if you're using your most impactful and effective time, to create this content, then it's going to, like, the time it takes you is going to be shorter and shorter. And the more that you do it, the quicker you're going to get at it as well. So I create my weekly content in about an hour. This live stream is obviously my core content every week. And I then use that content, across the week. So it takes me about an hour to write all that content. And, coming up with the idea, like I will often come up with it like a way. So like when I'm out on walks, I'll think like, what's a good piece of content this week? And it might come to me. Or alternatively, like I just sit down with my core content pillars. My content pillars are exactly how I coach my clients. So it's my unique coaching method, which is confidence, strategy, and action to help people build their personal brands, because they need a combination of the three in order to effectively build a personal brand. And so I think about like, what are topics that could come under confidence, strategy, and action? and how can I really, like, what's an idea under these when it comes to creating your personal brand that could really support my potential clients, or my audience. And then I always have ideas out of that. So if you've got those content pillars, you've got your plan, you know what you're doing, that is going to really, really support you. All right. So use your time effectively. You make sure that you're sitting down at your desk and writing that content at the time that is your most productive. So for me, that's first thing in the morning, rather than attempting to do it at like 4 p.m. when I'm like, this is, my brain's done for the day, and it takes twice as long. So you want to be doing it when you're kind of feeling fresh and when you're feeling like, yep, okay, I'm most productive. I'm just going to smash this out. And then later in the afternoon, you can do other tasks like admin, clearing email, whatever. So using your time effectively is a really good way to reduce that overwhelm and reduce procrastination too. I also like to set a timer. So if you're feeling like, this is a really big task, set a timer for 20 minutes, because I feel like you can sit there and do anything for 20 minutes. But if you're like, okay, I'm going to set a timer for 2 hours, that can feel overwhelming. But if you're like 20 minutes, okay, I can do that, and just get as far as you can in that 20 minutes. And then you're like, right, I'm on a roll now. I feel like I can get into it. I try and set like 30 to 40 minute timers now. But yeah, I feel like, 40 minutes is pretty good focus time. And then once I've done 40-minute chunk of work, then I'm like, okay, cool. I can get up, go for a walk around, have a glass of water, whatever, and then come back to my desk. But yeah, that 40 minutes or 20 minutes, if it feels like a big task, is a really great place to start. So set that timer. All right. Now, the third and final point to help you to overcome overwhelm and build your personal brand consistently is to stick to your strategy for 3 to 6 months. And the reason I say 3 to 6 months is because, like, if you're working full time in something, 3 months can feel like, and you're really focused on it, 3 months is a long time. If, you're in a business and you've got multiple elements to your business, or you've got a part-time job and part-time business, then things take a little bit longer just because you're not 100% focused and dedicated to that, right? So you want to, you want to give it a little bit more time just to see if it's working, to see what you can tweak and pivot from there. And the thing is that, like, look, everything's going to work. Everything, it works as part of, a whole. So just don't think that there's one magic bullet that is going to, like, land you all the clients or land you all the opportunities or get you into the leadership position. It's everything working in tandem. So having the strategy will really support you so you don't, like, get that shiny object syndrome, where you're like, oh, maybe I could do this, maybe I could do this, maybe I could do this, maybe I could do this. And because I have been there so many times, like, in my business, and realistically, it's just going to put you into overwhelm, because you probably cannot do it all unless you've got, like, a big team. Even then, you want to hone in, focus on a couple of things, see what works, and then go from there. And particularly when it comes to any kind of service-based business, it's your relationships that are going to win you clients, right? So you want to have all of your personal brand building activities as a funnel to support you to build those key relationships. That's what it's all about. So all of the personal brand building stuff is really to build those connections, to build those relationships, and to show what it is that you have to offer, and how you can support people with the service you provide. Right, so just to recap, I'm going to just go through 1 to 3. So the first thing you can do to overcome overwhelm and create your personal brand consistently is to create a strategy, also known as a plan. So what you're going to do versus what you're not going to do. Use your time effectively. So work when you are most productive, and have those times set in your calendar so that you aren't guessing when you're going to do it, so it doesn't fall off the radar. And the third thing is stick to your strategy for 3 to 6 months. See what works, see what you enjoy, tweak and pivot from there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've loved this. I am fully booked in terms of working with clients for this year. Like I mentioned, not in a growth phase right now. But if you do want to work with me in 2023, there are a number of ways that you can work with me. So the first is to work with me in a one-to-one coaching series. So I still do work with clients for 3 to 6 month coaching series. So I have a career alignment coaching series, and that is for professional women who are feeling, maybe not so aligned and a little bit stuck in their careers, and they're wanting to look at what's next, and how they can get there. So if it's that they're wanting to go into the leadership positions, how do they get the promotion? How do they actually, get it as well, the confidence to feel like they're worthy of those roles as well. So how do you get into those leadership roles? How do you accelerate your career? Or it could be landing the new job. So that career alignment is a 3-month one-to-one coaching series. And all my 3-month coaching packages are in Australian dollars. They're $3,000 plus GST. So really easy to remember. Then I've also got your personal brand coaching series. So this is to build your visibility, whether you're in a career or business, so you can get into those leadership positions. Obviously, there's some overlap. So there will be some career alignment or business alignment in the personal brand coaching series as well. And it's very tailored to what it is that you're looking to achieve professionally or in your business. So I have created a fully booked business, and I coach and consult. So I do a combination of both. My background is in PR and communications. I've been working in this field for 15 years now, supporting big global brands with their brands in the media primarily, and through marketing and communications initiatives. And also, I have supported hundreds of executives to build their personal brands through speaking, through the media, through social media primarily. So these are the areas that I really can support you to create your strategy so that you can effectively and confidently go and implement that to achieve what it is that you're wanting to achieve, whether that is, build that really incredible fully booked business as well, or if it is building that career as a leader in your field. So this is where I absolutely love supporting my clients. And I want to see you having, the most incredible, fulfilling career or business, whichever aligns for you, whichever you feel like fits you the most, because I really feel like, business isn't for everyone. Corporate's not for everyone. And so as a service-based professional, I want you to know that you've got options and you can do a mix of both as well. So I personally find that for me, having multiple clients in my own business feels more secure than having my own, like having having one job, right? Like having one kind of like, and relying on one job. So I personally find that that provides me with more security. I find it provides me with much more freedom, flexibility. I've got unlimited earning and income potential. I definitely exceed what I earned in corporate now. So, I feel like that really works for me, and I'm like a self-motivated person, and so that does work for me. But some people just like going into an office and like being like, okay, I know exactly what I have to do, so I'm just going to do that. And, and some people just love that kind of corporate environment. So there's no right or wrong, right? Like it's like whatever works for you is brilliant. But if you do feel like there is something holding you back from either stepping into and launching and creating that really successful, thriving business, or from going into the leadership positions, you just feel like there's something not quite right. Like I need to, I need to be perceived in a certain way, in a different way, potentially. I need to be more visible. I need to get out there a little bit more. Then definitely reach out and get on my wait list for 2023. I would absolutely love to support you next year. um, in my one-to-one coaching series. And I also have a 6-month corporate to business leap coaching series all on my website. If you just click on the work with me tab at becksands.com, you can find out all the details of that. But yeah, I do support women to go from corporate into their own coaching and consulting businesses as well. And as part of that 6-month package, you get access to my online course, The Online Consultant, with all of the resources you'll need to start your successful business and get fully booked with clients. So yeah, I hope this has really supported you. I love going live every week. So leave a comment when you've had a chance to watch this, or feel free to reach out. I'm at Beck Sands across most social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, obviously the Thought Leadership Club, or Personal Brand Coaching with Beck Sands. You can find me on LinkedIn, Beck Sands. Yeah, so I'd love for you to reach out. You can email me, becksands@becksands.com. So I'd love to hear from you about what's resonated here. And if you are looking to, take your career to the next level next year, or launch that business, and also to future proof yourself. I feel like really, really solid going into 2023 because I have multiple clients who are already like booking 12-month contracts and things like that with me, and I feel really, really great going into 2023 because I've got that diversity of income, and I know that that will allow me to thrive, and that will allow me the freedom and flexibility as well to be able to work on different creative projects and to also just take some downtime. So yeah, I'm going into 2023 feeling really, really solid. If you want to do that as well, and if you'd like my support, like I said, feel free to reach out. Please do reach out, I should say. And yeah, just introduce yourself, and I will put you on my waiting list for 2023 to do a one-on-one coaching series. Thank you so much for watching. Have an incredible day, and I will see you next week at 12 o'clock on Thursday. Bye.